Hey team, welcome to Lessons in Leadership. Bill Storm here with you. And this week we're moving on to chapter 7 of our 26-week study series on John Maxwell's book, Leadership Gold. And the title for this chapter is Get in the Zone and Stay There. Now, remember, there's 26 lessons in this series. So you're going to want to be sure to like and subscribe to the channel right now, okay, so that you're notified when the next lesson becomes available. I do publish them weekly. Now, if you've missed any of the first 6, you can always go back and catch up on those at your convenience. Also, if you'd like the show notes, the leadership training worksheet that I put together, the biblical alignment check worksheet that I put together, and the teaching video of today's lesson, please just shoot me a quick email at billstorm@billstorm.com, and I'm happy to send them your way. Okay, without further ado, let's dive in. And remember, this is what John has to say about leadership. This is what John has to say about getting in the zone and staying there. Our job is to study what he has to say and then discern for ourselves whether or not we believe that that is a good fit for our leadership style. Okay, so it's not gospel. This is just simply his opinion. And I'm going to give you my comments, thoughts, and ideas. Sometimes I'm going to agree with him, and then sometimes I'm flat out not going to agree with him just based on my own personal experience. So let's go ahead and dive in. So one of the most powerful ideas that John Maxwell shares in this chapter of Leadership Gold, Get in the Zone and Stay There, is that the zone isn't just a mindset, okay? It's a space where your strengths, your passions, and opportunities converge. So leaders who learn to consistently operate in this space not only elevate themselves, but they also elevate their teams and their organizations. Okay, so let's talk about that for just a second, okay? And we're going to get into why this ties in biblically in just a little bit. But basically, the zone is when you're doing something that you're naturally good at, you love doing it, it doesn't feel like work to you, and you just feel like you're riding the wave, right? I mean, this is effortless to you. It is automatic. It's like breathing air. That is your zone, okay? And I might call it your zone genius. So if you're in a different zone, if you're struggling, if you're frustrated, you get angry, and it feels like work, that's probably a good sign that you're not in your zone, right? So what that means is, listen, stay in your lane. You're great at certain things, so stay in that lane. So John says the challenge for most leaders isn't finding the zone once. It's learning how to stay there. So too often we scatter our focus. We're trying to do everything, or we drift into areas where our efforts produce very, very little return. So John reminds us that true leadership success is about clarity. It's about discipline, and it's about intentional focus. Okay, so with this, what most leaders need to learn how to do, what most people need to learn how to do is how to say no. Okay, you need to learn how to say no to 99% of the things that are asked of you or that you're even thinking about possibly doing yourself. Okay, your lane is very narrow, and this is the lane that you need to stay in. So a great practice idea for you this week is to just look at anything that makes you feel anxious, anything that doesn't really feel like it's serving you, and it just doesn't feel comfortable, and learn how to say no to that thing. And I promise you, the more you learn how to say no, the more it'll lead you right back into the zone, into the lane that you're supposed to be in, and you're going to start feeling good, right? You're going to start feeling a lot more energized. So use that as a little training tool for this week. So I've got 5 takeaways from John's chapter. This is again what John has to say. Let's dive in and study these. First takeaway, number 1, the zone is where strength meets passion. The zone is where strength meets passion. So the zone is not simply about doing what you're good at, it's about doing what energizes you, how you feel, right? It's all about how you feel when you're doing it. So when you combine skill with passion, this is how you create momentum. And work becomes fulfilling instead of draining, and results multiply. So this is an opportunity where you can kind of step back and ask yourself, do I feel energized or do I feel drained? If you feel drained, that means you're probably not meeting strength and passion, and that's why you're not getting any momentum. So these are great times for you to stop for a second, be still, and think about it. Am I feeling energized or am I feeling drained? Number two, average leaders chase everything. Great leaders focus. So if you're the kind of leader that is saying to yourself, it's just easier if I just do it myself, right? That means you are chasing everything. You haven't learned how to truly focus and stay in your lane. And if you're building a great team, the idea is to find people who are amazing in the other lanes that you're not good at, and then just wind them up and let them go. So John says many leaders dilute their impact because they say yes to too many good opportunities and staying focused on the great ones. So being in the zone requires the courage to say no, no, no to distractions, even when they seem appealing, right? So the next time somebody says, hey, do you got a minute? Hey, I'd like to bring this to your idea. Hey, can you help me do this? The answer is, I love you, but no, this is my lane. This is my focus. This is what I need to do as a leader. You go and put some work in there and see if you can figure this out on your own. Okay? Empower your people to do those things. Number three, staying in the zone requires discipline. Staying in the zone requires discipline. So getting into the zone is a choice. Staying in there requires it to become a habit. I'm going to say that again. Getting into the zone is a choice, but staying there requires that it becomes a habit. That means setting boundaries, delegating tasks outside of your strength, and consistently prioritizing your high value activities. Discipline protects your focus. So the greatest discipline that you can develop is the discipline to say no. Okay? The discipline to say no. There's another practice item this week. My name is no. My number is no. That's a song that my daughter used to listen to all the time and it's stuck in my head. Number four, the zone benefits your entire team. The zone benefits your entire team. So when leaders operate in their zone, it empowers others to do the same. So you're not a leader if you're micromanaging or if you're trying to carry the entire load yourself. Leaders model, focus, and create room for team members to step in to their own zones. Each member on your team should have a strength that you don't have. That's why they're that's why they're on your team in the first place. That's why you chose them. So let them do it. Number five, your zone evolves over time. So John emphasizes that your zone isn't static. That means it doesn't stay the same. So as you grow, your strength and passions sharpen. Staying in that zone requires continuous reflection. It requires adaptation, and it requires your willingness to refine how you spend your time. So you have to inspect what you expect of yourself in order to evolve. Okay, now let's step into some action steps that you can take. And I've got 6 of those here for you. So here are practical steps you can apply this week to stay in your leadership zone. So number 1 is define your zone. What is your zone? Write down what your strengths are. What are your top 3 strengths? What are you naturally great at? If you ask somebody else what you're good at, what would they say? Also write down what your top 3 passions are. Like, what are the things that energize you, that excite you? And now what you're going to do is you're going to look for the overlap, and that's your zone. So you look at your strengths versus your passions. What's the overlap? That's your zone. Action step number 2, evaluate your current schedule. So you're going to audit your week, basically. What percentage of your time are you spending in your zone versus the amount of time that you're spending in putting out fires or chasing your tail? That's what we're looking for. If it's less than 70%, you're likely spending too much time outside of your zone. I would gather that most of us spend more than or less than 70% of our time in the zone. I would gather most of us spend 70% of our time putting out fires and chasing our tail. Okay? I don't know if that's true. Just saying. Okay? You have to evaluate that for yourself. Number 3, eliminate or delegate. Identify tasks that don't fit your strengths or passions. If it doesn't fit your strength or passion, the answer is no. Don't do that activity. That's not for you. Number next, delegate them to someone else or eliminate them altogether. Okay? If it's not really moving the needle, it's not an activity you should be doing. So delegate anything that you need done that should get done to somebody who's great at that thing. Let them own it. Number next, remember, saying no to the wrong things lets you say yes to the right things. Okay, action step number 4, create daily zone habits. Block time on your calendar for high value activities. Yes, yes, and yes, okay? This is something that I do in my schedule. I block off time, and it's not just for work, everybody. If you are a leader, you are a leader of your own life first. You can't lead other people if you can't lead yourself. You can't preach if you're not walking your talk, right? So my time in the morning, for example, I'll just give an example. When I get up in the morning, the first thing that I do is I take my golden retriever, pup Samson, out. That is activity for me, okay? I don't immediately jump into, oh my goodness, what do I need to do today? And I run into my office and I start typing and looking at things. No, I don't do that. He's my priority. That's my first block of time that I use. My second block of my time that I use that's when I eat, okay? So fueling myself properly is important. So that's when I drink my AG1 drink, right? Which is my crazy green drink that keeps me young and healthy and vibrant, right? That's when I do all of that. And then when I'm done with that, I've got an app on my phone called Manna, which is basically puts me 10 minutes with some sort of Bible lesson. This has become more important to me as I've gotten older, because so many of the things that we learn out there in the personal growth and development world are really regurgitated things. And this is a way for me to come back and align them with my core values and what I believe my gifts and talents are, my God-given gifts and talents. I want to make sure they're in alignment with what my true purpose is, what my true calling is on earth. This is also why I've included a lot more of this in these types of talks, rather than just talking about personal growth and development that some modern author has created. I want to check that against ancient wisdom, right? Against biblical wisdom. What's God's word say about this thing? So I feed myself spiritually that way, so I'm grounded, I'm in the right space before I start doing my work. So I have a block of time for everything. And during that time, I'm off the grid. I am dead to the world. You cannot reach me during those times because that is a block of time. So I spent a little bit more time in that action step because it's really important. And John goes on to say, to protect that time fiercely, treat it as a non-negotiable appointment. Yes, protect that time. Put the guard at the gate. I am not available during that time. That's what leadership is. Start your day with your most important zone activity before tackling anything else. Yes, this is important. That's why fueling is important. Fueling the mind, body, and spirit. That's the first thing that you should do as a leader. It's like putting your own oxygen mask on first. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of other people. Number 5, develop your team's zone awareness. Have conversations with your team about their strengths and passions. Don't assume that they know what they are. Then reassign or restructure responsibilities where possible so more people operate in their zone genius. Then celebrate and reward when team members lean in to their unique strengths, right? Reward them for doing that. Make them conscious of how they're operating their day as well. That is your job. You're leading them to become the best version of themselves. Number 6, revisit and refine regularly. Okay, I like to call that inspect what you expect of yourself. So at least quarterly, reflect on whether you're still in your zone. Okay. Quarterly is way too long, John Maxwell. It has to be daily, right? If you start to fall off track, it happens a little bit at a time. So you have to inspect what you expect of yourself on a daily basis. That is how you develop a habit. Now, John says to ask yourself, have my passions shifted? Have my strengths evolved? That's a great question. Maybe you don't need to ask yourself that every single day. But I will tell you that if you're inspecting what you expect of yourself on a daily basis, you don't have to worry about whether your strengths are going to evolve or not. They're going to do that naturally because you're practicing excellence. And then John ends with adjust accordingly to stay aligned with your growth. Okay, let's jump over to a biblical alignment check. So the main idea here from John is operate in your zone, the intersection of your strengths and passions, and stay there consistently for maximum impact. So here's how it aligns biblically. We all have unique gifts and strengths that are God-given, right? We all have a certain measure that's been poured onto us. So John's point is focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. Scripture says we have different gifts according to the grace given to each one of us. That's from Romans 12, verse 6. So what John says is biblically sound. God equips each of us with a unique set of gifts and talents. Our responsibility then is to be a good steward of those gifts and use them well. Now, I went into a lot more depth, so without making this video way too long, you can download the complete biblical alignment check worksheet if you'd like to deepen your understanding of that. I've spent quite a bit of time in that, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you as well. So final thoughts. Leadership isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things consistently. So if you want to make the greatest impact, you must discipline yourself to live and lead in the zone. Ask yourself, am I living and leading in my zone genius, or am I scattered across distractions? Your growth, your influence, and your legacy as a leader are going to depend on that answer. So thanks for joining me today. We're going to move on to chapter 8 next week. And if you like today's message, there are a few ways that I can help you grow faster. Number one, if you've got an event coming up, I'd love to be able to speak at that next event. Number two, contact me and let me know if you'd like me to do a workshop for your team. We can focus on sales, mindset, or leadership training, and we'll simply have a friendly 15-minute chat or so to learn more about how I can tailor it to meet your needs. And then last, of course, you can work with me privately. I can be reached very easily at billstorm@billstorm.com if you want to reach me by email, or you can shoot me a call at 315-882-2769. And again, just a quick reminder, if you'd like the show notes for today, the leadership training workshop I put together, the biblical alignment check worksheet I put together, in the teaching video, just shoot me a quick email and I'm happy to send that your way. Okay, until next time, be well, and we'll talk soon.